Heaven's Gate. Founded by Bonnie Nettles and Marshall Applewhite, known within the movement as Do and Chai, began the belief that their followers can transform themselves into otherworldly beings by rejecting their humanity, thus descending into a realm beyond that of humans. They believed that the earth was bound to be destroyed sooner rather than later, and the only salvation was to ascend from their bodies to a higher level. The two would gain their first follower in May 1974, a woman by the name of Sharon Morgan, who abandoned her children to join them. A month later, Morgan left the two and returned to her family. They said those who agreed to participate in the experiment would be brought to a higher evolutionary level.
The evolutionary level above human, synonymous with the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven. We're going to talk to you about...
Eventually, the cult had garnered a following of around 39 active members, including Applewhite. Although, to the dismay of some, the death of Nettles from cancer in 1985 challenged the group's views on ascension. While they originally believed that they would ascend to heaven while alive aboard a UFO, they came to believe that the body was merely a container or vehicle for the soul, and that their consciousness would be transferred to next-level bodies upon death.
Your only chance to survive or evacuate is to leave with us. Now,
on March 26, 1997, deputies of the San Diego County Sheriff's Department discovered the bodies of the 39 active members of the group. They had participated in a coordinated series of ritual suicides, coinciding with the closest approach of a comet named Comet Hale-Bopp that appeared in 1997. Just before the mass suicide, the group's website was updated with the following message.
Hale-Bopp brings closure to Heaven's Gate. Our 22 years of classroom here on planet Earth is finally coming to conclusion. Graduation from the human evolutionary level. We are happily prepared to leave this world and go with G's crew.
MRTC, the Movement for the Restoration of the Ten Commandments of God, was a religious movement founded by Credonia Muerinde and Joseph Kimbwetere in southern Uganda. The two founding members claimed to have seen a vision of the Virgin Mary. The focus of this cult was strictly based on the Ten Commandments of God that were handed down to Moses in the Abrahamic religions.
Life did you think you were going to live together on your wedding day?
we thought of that life to be a very happy one, and it's what it was before he went with those people. It was a happy one, a very cheerful, happy, and lovable to our children. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee.
Things went wrong when they met a former prostitute, Credonia Muerinde, who claimed to have had a vision of Mary, who told her to move in with Joseph and help spread his message.
The members of the cult were taught that to avoid damnation in the apocalypse, one had to strictly follow the commandments, to obey the 10 commandments and preach the word of Jesus Christ. The emphasis on the commandments was so strong that the group discouraged talking for fear of breaking the 9th commandment, "Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor."
Such and such, I'm a bad woman, and
Movement leaders declared that the apocalypse would occur on December 31st, 1999. The group had a strong emphasis on an apocalyptic end time. The MRTC developed a hierarchy of visionaries. Behind them were former priests, with the supposed apocalypse looming around the corner. Activity by members of the movement became frenzied. Their leaders urged them to confess their sins in preparation for the end. Past members were re-recruited, and all work in the fields ceased. When the day came and passed without the advent of the apocalypse, the movement began to unravel. Questions were asked, and payments to the church decreased dramatically. After the passing of the 1st of January of the year 2000, many became disillusioned with the group, and another date was chosen by the leaders, with 17th of March 2000 being announced as the new day the apocalypse would occur. The movement held a huge party at Kanungu, where they roasted 3 bulls and drank 70 crates of soft drinks. Minutes after the members arrived at the party, an explosion was heard by the nearby villagers. The building had been engulfed in intense fire and heat, killing all 530 members in attendance. The windows and doors of the building had been boarded up to prevent them from leaving. A few days after the church fire, police investigated movement properties and discovered hundreds of bodies at sites across southern Uganda. Bodies were discovered throughout compounds that the movement owned. In the end, it is estimated that at least 780 people died in total. The Angel Kids. Founded by Roch Theriault in Canada, in the mid-70s, Roch convinced a few people to leave their jobs and homes to join him. His goal was to form a commune where people could freely listen to his motivational speeches, live in unity and equality, and be free of sin. He prohibited the group from remaining in contact with their families, as this was against his cult's values of freedom. Roch's fear of the end of the world grew, claiming that God had warned him that it would come in February 1997. In order to prepare and survive said apocalypse, Theriault moved his commune by hiking to a mountainside he called the Eternal Mountain in hope, where he claimed that they could all be saved. There, he made the commune build their town while he rested, comparing them to ants working in an anthill, naming the group the Angel Kids. When the time came and the apocalypse did not occur, people started to question his wisdom, but he defended himself, saying that on Earth, the time is not the same as on the other side. Therefore, it was a miscalculation on his part. To expand the community as well as keep the members imprisoned, he, the cult leader, married and impregnated all of the women in the commune, fathering over 20 children with 9 female members of the group. By the 1980s, there were nearly 40 members. Following the cult's formation, Roch began to move away from being a motivational leader as his drinking problem worsened. Members were not allowed to speak to each other when he was not present, nor to have sex with each other without his permission. Roch began to inflict punishments on followers that he considered to be straying by spying on them and claiming that God told him what they did. If a person wished to leave, Roch would hit them with either a belt or a hammer. The Angel Kids raised money by selling baked goods, and members who did not bring enough money were also punished. Over time, Roch's punishment became increasingly extreme and violent, including making members break their own legs with sledgehammers, sit on lit stoves, shoot each other in the shoulders, and eat dead mice and feces. The abuse extended to the cult's children, who were sexually abused, held over flies, or nailed to trees while other children threw stones at them. One of Roch's wives left a newborn child outside to die in freezing temperatures to keep him away from the abuse. Roch claimed to be a holy being and started performing unnecessary amateur surgery operations on sick members to demonstrate his healing powers. These surgeries included injecting a 94% ethanol solution into stomachs or performing circumcisions on the children and adults of the group. In 1987, social workers removed 17 of the children from the commune. However, Rosh faced no repercussions for his abusive acts. One day, Rosh performed another amateur surgery without anesthesia on a woman named Solange Bolliard. He cut open her abdomen with a knife and ripped out part of her intestines with his bare hands. Rosh made another member stitch her up using needle and thread, and had the other woman shove a tube down her throat and blow through it. The woman died the next day. Claiming to have the powers of resurrection, Rosh had his followers saw off the cap of her skull, and he ejaculated into her brain. When she did not return to life, her corpse was buried a short distance from the Anthill Kids commune. Theriol was arrested for assault in 1989 after a woman he had imprisoned escaped and contacted the police to report his abuses. That in and of itself helped dissolve the cult once and for all. And in 1993, he was convicted for the murder of follower Solange Bolliard. He had previously also killed an infant named Samuel Guguier. Rosh received a life sentence, which he was serving when he was murdered in 2011. As of today, Rosh Theriol is considered one of Canada's most notorious criminals since the 1980s.